Good morning, everyone. Now we need to be very, very quiet. No. Shh. Don't say anything. Don't say anything at all. Now, if you're listening in a room and there's people around you, you need to turn the volume down. You may want to hit pause and go find an empty room somewhere, maybe a storage room, a closet, because trust me, you're not going to want anyone to hear what you're listening to. We need to be very quiet. This would be a good time to put on a pair of headphones. And when you put those headphones on, you want to push them up against your ear so that no one can hear the sound coming out of the headphones. You want this to be a secret, okay? We've got to keep this quiet. All right? Here's the reason why. Shh. In this episode of the Currently On podcast, we're going to be talking about... Okay, are you sure no one can hear? Are you sure? Are you alone? In this episode, we're going to be talking about Nickelback. Shh. Yeah, Nickelback. Yeah, the band Nickelback. Yeah, that band that everyone makes fun of. That band that if your friends found out right now you're listening to a podcast talking about Nickelback, they would mock you. They would make fun of you. So, shh. You can't tell anyone about this episode, okay? Now, I'm going to speak up. Are you ready? Are you sure you're alone now? Are you sure you've got a pair of headphones on? Okay, I'm getting ready to speak up. Here we go. Welcome, everyone, to the Currently On podcast. It is Tuesday, August the 18th, 2020. It is currently 9:30 a.m. Central Time. And now that we have some privacy, now that we know that no one is listening to us, I can go ahead and say it. Yes, in this episode, I have to talk about the band in the room, the elephant in the room. I have to talk about Nickelback. Yes, I didn't really want to, but I have to. There's no way to avoid it. I'm going to have to tell you about it. I'm going to have to offer some thoughts. You probably know why I'm turning on the microphone right now talking about Nickelback. And and I know you're thanking me right now because obviously you don't want any of your friends to know you're listening to me talk about Nickelback, okay? Because yes, if you tell people that you're listening to a Nickelback song, if you tell people you're listening to a podcast about Nickelback, you're going to get made fun of, all right? Because Nickelback, let's just be honest, they're the band everyone loves to hate. Everyone loves to mock them. And we could talk about all the reasons, okay? Many of the reasons are very justifiable, right? I mean, it's hard in some cases to defend, Nickelback. Let's be honest. But in this episode, we're going to have a serious conversation, all right? A very serious conversation. But before we can talk about Nickelback, yes, and I know it's 2020, and I know we're talking about Nickelback, which even makes it seem more absurd than this episode already has been, okay, with the whole whispering at the beginning. I know this is already having this feeling that it's absurd, but it has to be an absurd episode considering we're talking about Nickelback, which, absurd, right? Okay, and 2020, yes, of all the things going, okay, but here's what we have to do. Before we can talk about Nickelback in 2020, we need to go back to 1979. 1979. Now, when I looked up the date, because I couldn't remember the exact date, I was somewhat shocked by this. I was like, 1979? Really? There's no way that's when it was released. But according to what I have in front of me, it was 1979. Let me tell you why we're going back to 1979, okay? We're going to go back to 1979, and then we'll jump up in time a little bit. And let's see, May the 21st, 1979, May the 21st, 1979, an album was released. Was the album released? Let me see, when was the album released? Let me give you the exact date for the album. Yeah, okay. The album was released on April the 20th, 1979. April the 20th, 1979, an album was released. And here was the title of the album, Million Mile Reflections. Million Mile Reflections was released on April the 20th, 1979. The name of the band? The Charlie Daniels Band. The Charlie Daniels Band released their album. It was their 10th studio album, Million Mile Reflections. Again, it was released on April the 20th, 1979. Now, when this album was released in April the 20th, 1979, again, it was called Million Mile Reflections. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know it was released. I probably didn't even know. I didn't even know who the Charlie Daniels Band was in 1979. I didn't have a clue. Obviously wasn't a fan. Didn't know anything about them, didn't know they exist. Then on May the 21st, all right, May the 21st, 1979, they released a single. I think you probably know the name of the song. The Devil Went Down to Georgia, all right? They released a single, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, on May the 21st, 1979. Now, obviously the song was already on the album, but now it was released as a single. All right. The Devil Went Down to Georgia was released as a single on May the 21st, 1979. Now, in April 1979, I didn't know who the Charlie Daniels Band was. On May the 21st, 1979, I still didn't know who the Charlie Daniels Band was. I will say I didn't know who the Charlie Daniels Band was for the entire year of 1979. I didn't have a clue who they were. I can't even, I can almost guarantee you, I never even heard the song The Devil Went Down to Georgia in 1979. If I did, I don't remember it. I mean, I don't have any memory at all. In fact, the first time I remember hearing The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Now, we're going to have to jump up. I don't know what year it was. Somewhere in the 1980s. I don't know, 1980, 1981, 1982. I don't know what year. Somewhere in the 1980s. All right. So I was behind on this. I was on a school bus here in West Texas. Okay. Now you got to remember, this is the 1980s. I'm on a school bus. Someone gets on the school bus carrying a boombox, all right? A boombox. That's what we called them, all right? A portable, kind of a portable stereo. I've got to try to explain this for people from this generation. A portable stereo system, right? It had a tuner where you could listen to radio and had a cassette player where you could play a cassette, all right? And that's now later on they had them with CDs, with CD players, but back at this time it was people getting, carrying these big radio boom boxes around, okay, with a cassette player. And sometimes here in West Texas on the bus, someone would come on the bus with a big boom box, and whatever they played is what you listened to on the way to school, unless you had carrying a Walkman and you had headphones on. But in many cases, you would just be curious of what they were going to play. So someone sitting in the back of the bus. Now remember, I'm in Texas. I'm in West Texas, in the middle of nowhere, Texas. So this makes at least some kind of sense. Someone hits play on a cassette, and I hear The Devil Went Down to Georgia by the Charlie Daniels Band. And that's what I remember that as being the first time I heard it. Now, there's a good chance maybe I heard it in 1979. I listened to so much music. I still listen to pretty much, I've always listened to the exact same music, just countless hours a day. But that's my first real memory of it. And I was sitting there on the bus going, what is this? And the first thing that caught my attention, obviously, The Devil Went Down to Georgia tells a story, right? Okay, you know the song, Devil Went Down to Georgia. There's the devil. There's this other person. They're going to have this competition with who can play the fiddle the best. And you get the whole vibe of the story. I'm not going to go and review everything about the song. You probably already know the song. If not, you can look it up. The Devil Went Down to Georgia, Charlie Daniels Band. All right. So and it became kind of an iconic song. It became very famous. It really did. It seemed to just survive forever, especially during the 1980s. It just seemed to show up over and over and over and over again. And, I think it showed up in pop, and maybe it showed up in movies. I don't even know all the different places it showed up in popular culture. I could probably look up a list, but it just seemed to be everywhere. Just a song that just kind of lived on through the 80s, through the 1990s. And I guess it kind of lost Maybe it lost its influence by the time you get into the 2000s. I don't, it wasn't around as much. But from in the 1980s and through the 1990s, it was relatively common, to turn on country radio or just in different places in popular culture. Somehow the song would be referenced, maybe as a parody, who knows what. But The Devil Went Down to Georgia, Charlie Daniels Band, yes, that song just kind of lived on. Then it kind of, nobody really talked about it anymore. It lost its influence. And then, sadly, you probably know what happens. Charlie Daniels passed away on July the 6th, 2020. July the 6th, 2020, Charlie Daniels passes away, all right? Now, after someone passes away, we all know what happens, right? Especially when a musician passes away. Someone passes away, then obviously everyone starts talking about them again. When a musician passes away, everyone starts listening to their music. Someone passes away, then all of a sudden their album sales go up, album streams go up. Everyone pulls out their old catalog and starts listening to it, all right? It's kind of it's something that happens. It's like they died and then everybody's like, oh, I remember them. Oh, I remember their albums. Oh, I remember their songs. And then all of a sudden go back and start listening to them again. It's some kind, sometimes I find it weird. It's like, well, why did you stop listening to them in the first place? I mean, if they were your favorite and you love them, then why did you stop listening to them? But it always happens. And so that's just a normal thing. You can have your own opinion about why that happens, how it happens. Does it feel like, well, wait a minute, why did we stop listening to them in the first place? You can draw your own opinions and have your own feelings about it. But he passed away. And obviously, after he passed away, what happened? Well, his music started getting streamed and people started listening to it. And once again, The Devil Went Down to Georgia started getting a little bit of attention. All right? Now, while Charlie Daniels is getting all of that, getting a little bit of attention, probably would have received maybe even more attention if it wasn't the fact that we're in 2020. But obviously, we know what else is going on in 2020, all right? 2020, we have a global pandemic that's, sweeping across the world, and people are dying, people are getting infected, and we have all of the controversy surrounding the global pandemic. We got people fighting about masks, people fighting about what drugs to take, people arguing about how serious the pandemic is, it's not serious, conspiracy theories. We have all of that going on. Obviously, we have police brutality, we have protest, we have riots, we're in the middle of an election year, people arguing and fighting. It just seems 2020, it just seems one thing after another happens, making this a year that's never going to be forgotten. It's going to be talked about forever. Some are saying it's one of the worst years they've ever experienced. It has been an absolutely crazy year. Charlie Daniels dies. Just everything's going crazy in the world. And then in the midst of all of that craziness, Nickelback decides it's time to release some new music. And Nickelback decides to release a cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia by the Charlie Daniels Band. Now, depending on your viewpoint, you may view that, well, that's a very 2020 thing to do, all right? One of the most hated bands in the world, a band that that many people love to mock, a band that many people would say just absolutely is garbage. They decide to release a new song in 2020. And on top of just releasing a song, they decide to release a cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Is that not 2020? So it's hard not to just kind of just roll your eyes and go, whatever, it's Nickelback, it's 2020, whatever, and you just move on. But then next thing you know, news articles are being written about it. Next thing you know, I'm looking at my Apple news feed and I'm seeing an article about Nickelback. Devil Went Down to Georgia. Now, of course, some of those articles are there just to get you to click because it's Nickelback, and you're going to click it because you're hoping they're going to blast the song. Who knows? They're going to rip the song apart. I don't know why you may be drawn to click on an article that says Nickelback in the headline, but people are, all right, because they're still writing the articles. So I was like, okay. Now, when I first heard the song was coming out, I did not bother to listen to it. By no means am I a Nickelback fan. I can't say that look, there's plenty there that bothers me about Nickelback. There are. we could talk about it all day. There's a lot of just things happening, and we could go back to when Nickelback was formed, what was happening in music at the time. We can get into a whole discussion about it. But I can't say that I never was really a big fan. There was probably a song here or there that at that time I probably at least liked, or at least, listened to a few times. I never purchased one of their albums. I don't even think I have a Nickelback album in any of my music libraries on any of my streaming services. I don't even know if I have any of their songs in any of my libraries in any of my streaming services. Well, I have one now. We'll talk about it in a minute. I can't say that I was a fan. There's certain parts about them that I do hate, and then there's other parts. I can't say it's not even really love. It's definitely not love. It's definitely not hate. It's just kind of like a lot of indifference. It's just Nickelback. Now, yes, when I'm joking around, I can definitely pile on them and mock them and say a lot of negative things about them, especially when compared to a lot of other bands that I think, deserve a lot more credit. And then you have this kind of Nickelback that's just there. Now, there may be some diehard Nickelback fans somewhere. There may be. Typically, they are in hiding. Typically, they don't want anyone to know, or maybe they just really love to really. In fact, you have to kind of question if someone is like out there bragging that they're a Nickelback fan. Are they really a Nickelback fan? Are they simply a troll? Are they simply trolling people? Are they simply looking to get a reaction? At this point, you have to question the validity of anyone's claim of being a Nickelback fan. You just have to question the validity of it. Like, come on. I don't think you are. But needless to say, I've got to talk about Nickelback today. We've got to talk about this song. And I don't even really know where to begin. I will tell you this. I did put on the headphones. I did listen to Nickelback's cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia, originally done by the Charlie Daniels Band, on an album that was released in April of 1979. The single was released in May of 1979. I did listen to it. I listened to it, I think, twice. There's nothing horribly offensive about the song as far as its production values. There wasn't massive brick walling that just drove me crazy. So, production, I wasn't like, okay, this is horrible. But what do we have to, I don't even know where to begin. Let's just talk about it. First, we could ask ourselves this question: why do a cover? Well, I will say this. If a band does the cover of a song, and they were really fans, and that band really influenced them, then by all means do a cover. Show your respect, honor the band that you love, honor a song that had a major influence in your life. Now, I cannot say, because I don't think I've ever read an interview by Nickelback. I think I've read very little information about Nickelback. Maybe they are on record stating how much of an influence Charlie Daniels Band was upon them. Maybe they're in interviews talking about how The Devil Went Down to Georgia changed their lives. Maybe they are. Or maybe, I don't even know what really motivated this cover. Maybe they are on record of saying what motivated this cover. It just seems so random and weird. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe what we need in 2020 is some random, weird, crazy, just view it as random, crazy fun. Like hey, the world is on fire. Let's forget about the fire for a few minutes and let's go listen to Nickelback do a cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. I mean, maybe if we just view it as random, silly, fun, tongue firmly implanted in cheek, right? A little tongue in cheek kind of fun. Maybe then there's a little bit of escapism in it. But when you listen to it, does it sound like tongue in cheek? Does it sound like just fun? Or does it sound like Nickelback is taking themselves too seriously? I think that's the first thing you're going to have to ask yourself when you listen to the song. Do you feel like it's fun, or do you feel like they're actually taking it way too seriously? That's going to be, I don't know. I mean, when I listen to it, I'm kind of like, okay, I try to listen to it as this is just over the top fun. That's the way I listen to it. Now, the song is, so I guess now I do have a Nickelback song in my library because I have added the song, Nickelback's cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia on the Currently on Radar playlist, which is available on Spotify and which is available on Apple Music. I don't think I've added it to the playlist on Apple Music yet, but the Currently on Radar playlist, which you need to be subscribing to. I don't know why more people are not. We should be well over 5,000 subscribers right now. We should be well over 10,000 because the whole world should subscribe to our you should subscribe to the podcast, but you should subscribe to our playlist as well. But the Currently on Radar playlist, which obviously it's the music that's on my musical radar and needs to be on your musical radar. I went ahead and added Nickelback, their cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Now, what's crazy is right now there are 2 cover songs on my playlist, and I hate cover songs. I do hate cover songs, especially if the cover tries to stay very close to the original, because it sounds like a karaoke version. If I wanted to hear a karaoke version of a famous song, I could go to a karaoke bar. Okay, I don't want to hear that. If you're going to cover the song, you need to do something unique with it. You need to change it up. You need to do something that makes me want to hear it. If it sounds like the original, I'll just go listen to the original because most likely the original was done better. All right, so I don't like cover versions of songs. I don't like when people on YouTube doing covers of famous songs, not unless they do something unique with it. They change it up. There's a unique twist that makes me go, oh, wow, that's stinking awesome. Okay. But most of the time I just roll my eyes going, cheap karaoke version. I'll go listen to the original. Thank you very much. All right. So Nickelback comes along. They do change it up. I will tell you that. They try to take The Devil Went Down to Georgia, which is obviously dealing with a battle between Satan and this guy on a fiddle, right? They're going to have a battle, dueling fiddles. Okay, they take it from this kind of very country narrative for the story with fiddles and a lot of the country elements. They pull it from that and they put it in the setting. Forget the fiddle. Now let's use guitars and let's put it in the kind of a metal setting. Metal. Now it's Nickelback. Metal. Like, even right there is just so absurd. Like, Nickelback doing a metal, they're going to retell The Devil Went Down to Georgia in a metal setting. Like, does that work? Does that work? Like, this can't get any more weird. Like, this is so over the top. I can't even talk about this with a straight face, right? I'm trying to be overly absurd I tried to be overly absurd at the beginning of this because this is just absurd. Nickelback doing a cover of a country song. And Nickelback wants to turn it into something metal. Like, why did you almost wish Nickelback would have just done The Devil Went Down to Georgia and they sounded like Nickelback. That would be even more humorous, right? Hey, Nickelback doing a Nickelback version of The Devil Went Down to Georgia, but it's Nickelback doing a metal version of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. You think we could leave that to, I don't know, a metal band? Right? Maybe. I mean, Nickelback, metal, like those are not in the same world, right? So, okay. So I got some different quotes from just some different articles here, right? Here's how one headline put it. Nickelback drops crazy cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia to honor Charlie Daniels. Now, again, if Nickelback is truly honoring Charlie Daniels, they were big fans, he was a big influence on them, then by all means go do it. Now, if it's like a cheap ploy to try to get a little bit of buzz and try to be relevant again, then I'm not a fan of it, all right? Now, of course, you can do whatever you want. You're completely free. I love freedom. I want people to have freedom to do whatever they want. But I'm just saying, if it's done out of honor and respect, and because these people influenced you, then I'm all for it. It just still seems weird that Nickelback takes a country song and tries to redo it in a metal way. Just seems so that they call it crazy. I will call it it's kind of a little bit absurd. But here's some more discussion here. The much mocked Canadian band. Right? Now, yes, I would say that. Now, I look. Canadians, if you're listening, you've given us a lot of great things, all right? You've given us Bryan Adams. Can't go wrong there. You've given us, well, I think we all know the one band you've given us that we owe we owe Canada a great. We all owe Canada a great debt. Okay, I think we can all say that. They've given us the band Rush. All right, and when Canada gives the world the band Rush, they can be forgiven for any other sin that they've ever committed. Okay, they gave us Nickelback, but they gave us Bryan Adams. You can't really go wrong with Bryan Adams. I mean, come on, Bryan Adams. I mean, awesome. And Rush, one of the greatest bands to ever pick up instruments. I mean, Rush. I mean, they came from Canada. So when you give the world Rush, you're forgiven for Nickelback. I mean, what I will do is I think Nickelback should not even be referred to as a Canadian band because Canada gave us Rush. I think Canada should be exempt from being blamed for Nickelback. I think Nickelback should just be called an American band. I think so. I mean, Canada gives us Rush. They get a free pass. So Nickelback, I'm going to place them under the category of an American band. I'm sorry, America. I'm sorry. You have to be blamed for Nickelback. I cannot blame Canada because they gave us Rush. I can't. So I cannot call them a Canadian band. Nickelback is now officially an American band. Right? It's official. You heard it first on the Currently On podcast. Nickelback is no longer to be referred to as a Canadian band because Canada gave us the band Rush, and therefore they're exempt from all of their crimes. Okay. All right. I don't know what else to say. Here we go. The much mocked Canadian band subbed guitars for fiddles, but Johnny still gets the gold. You'll know what that's referencing if you've heard the song. All right. Here's some other discussions here about it. In an effort to remind us who they really are, Nickelback just released a metal cover version complete with a crazy animated video of Charlie Daniels' The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Now, I have not watched the crazy animated video. It took me a while to even get to the song. Charlie Daniels passed away in July. This cut was meant to be a tribute to his memory, though the Canadian rockers make some fundamental changes to the character of the song. They jettison the old-fashioned and oh-so-country fiddle of the duel Daniels wrote for the Devil and Johnny and subbed and electric guitars. Semi-satanic shredding ensues. All right, so they got rid of the old-fashioned and oh-so-country fiddle for the duel, and you know, if you listen to the song, there's this duel, this battle that takes place between Satan and the character in the song. All right. And Satan and Johnny. I think Johnny is his name. All right. Now we assume, and maybe you know this. Have you ever saw? Well, maybe you have. There's an Adult Swim cartoon. I think it's called Squidbillies. Well, they kind of did. In fact, if you don't know anything about the Adult Swim cartoon Squidbillies, it follows the insane lives of land-dwelling squids who live in in Georgia. They already did something like this, and though they didn't actually cover the song, they did something kind of like it. All right, so this one article says we won't aim to be rock critics on the save to say, well, it definitely sounds like Nickelback covering Charlie Daniels. All right, so you can go watch the Adult Swim cartoon Squidbillies, and you can kind of see what they did, and it's very kind of similar to what Nickelback is doing, maybe. All right. Now we could also argue that Nickelback and their lead singer Chad Kroeger and company arguably did gut the song of its most country elements aside, and maybe that's a good thing. All right. Okay. The article kind of gives their take. I'll give mine. I think in some ways gutting the song and changing it up, for me, that's the only way to do it. Like, if you're going to do a cover, you can't do it the same way because then it's karaoke. So they gut the song kind of some of its original elements, especially of its country elements. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is why did Nickelback decide to go metal? Like what was the motivation to go, like, we're going to do this in a metal way? Why wouldn't you do it in a Nickelback way? Right? Or maybe they know nobody wants Nobody wants to hear a song in 2020 done in a Nickelback way. Maybe everybody has moved on from the Nickelback way. So maybe they didn't have any other choice. I don't know. They said some might disagree with the choice, given they covered they go back and talk about some other. They talk about another band that did a cover of it. They said Charlie Daniels. This article says Charlie Daniels would probably just be proud his hit keeps on going without him. I don't know. I struggle. I don't know what to make of the song. I really don't know. I don't know what to make with the. I don't know what to make of the song. I don't know. You can kind of hear me kind of going back and forth. I'm reading some of the different things they're saying, and I don't want to. A lot of some of the articles are very critical, obviously, because it's kind of like the in vogue thing to do. I mean, bash Nickelback. So I don't want to just read what they have to say. So that's why I kind of stopped and skipped some of what they had to say. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do with the song. So here, what's your take? Well, I mean, first of all, let's do a couple of things. Let's do this. All right. Like right now in music, it is weird. Right now we've got obviously Taylor Swift ruling the album charts, correct? Folklore. We've got Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion ruling the singles chart with WAP. And then somewhere in the middle of all of that, we've got all the craziness going on in the world. And then here's Nickelback going, hey, guys, everyone pay attention to us for a minute. Here's our cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia, and we're doing it in a metal way. We're going to do a metal version of the song Devil Went Down to Georgia, done by Nickelback. It seems so absurd, so over the top, that maybe that makes it even more interesting. Maybe it's a clever idea. Maybe it's actually clever. That they're the ones doing it. Is it a novelty song? I don't know. I don't know how much attention. I didn't even bother to look up to see how many streams it has received. I haven't even bothered to look to see if it's picking up any momentum, what it really needs. And we all know what it needs. Needs someone to make it go viral on TikTok, right? You get the song going viral on TikTok, and then the next thing you know, you get some people together, make a TikTok video utilizing Nickelback's cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Maybe you'll go viral, then the song goes viral, and the next thing you know, they've got a hit on their hands. Okay? I don't know if it will be a hit without something like that. I don't know. Here's my problem. Even the original, I was never really a fan of the original. Here's the way I took the original. It told a story. So the first time you hear it, you're like, oh, how does the story go? Oh, okay, that's how the story ended. Okay. To be honest with you, I wanted Satan to win. All right. I didn't want the Johnny or whoever it is in the song to win. I wanted Satan to win. I thought that would be I thought that'd be a cooler way to tell the story because everyone expects Satan to lose in the story. So I'm like, that's no fun. Let's turn the narrative upside down. Let's let Satan win. All right. That's what I wanted to happen, but it didn't. So that always disappointed me with the song. I was hoping that Nickelback, if they redid the song, they would change the ending of the song and have Satan win. But then everyone would have probably lost. Everyone would have lost it, and then there would be even more controversy, which actually may have helped the song. It's just so I wasn't a fan of the original because I didn't like the way it ended. I wanted Satan to win. And number two, I thought the song was one of those kind of novelty songs. You hear it once, you hear it twice. You're like, oh, this is kind of cool. It tells a story. But after 3 or 4 times or 5 times, it wasn't a song that I was going to put on and listen to on a regular basis. It wasn't a song that you wanted to, add to your mixtape if you were making a mixtape. It wasn't a song it was just a novelty song, a fun song. So I never really was a fan of it. Novelty songs are fun and cool when you first hear them, but after a while, once the novelty wears off, they don't just show up in your normal playlist of songs because they don't fit in. They're kind of a novelty song. They're kind of like, look at this little unique thing. Oh, it's cool, but its coolness only lasts for a little while because after you get used to it, then you just move on. So I was never a fan of the original. So if I was never a fan of the original, I don't care who does the cover. I don't care how they do the cover. I'm probably not going to be a fan of the song. And again, I don't like the way the story goes in the song. I wanted Satan to win because that would go against everyone's expectations. Everyone's expectations, especially in the 1980s, that would have shocked everyone. Everyone would be like, wait, you had a song that Satan won? Oh, you're a Satanist. Yeah, I can't believe this. Down with you. And of course, obviously a country band wasn't going to pull that off, but I just think someone should have, I just really would have wished that Charlie Daniels would have just completely gone against everyone's expectations and had Satan win it. So I don't know. You draw your own conclusions. The song is currently on. It's currently available on the Currently On Radar playlist on Spotify. I'll put it on the Apple Music playlist, and let me tell you, I'm not going to leave it there for a long time, okay? Because I'm not a fan of it. And when I create the playlist, I try to listen to the playlist at least once a day. So if it's on my playlist, I want it there so that you know about it, but then I'm going to move on because I'm not a big fan. We could have an interesting discussion about the guitar work on Nickelback's cover. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's interesting? I think maybe that's kind of the interesting part of the song, is how the battle goes, this battle between Satan and Johnny, the way they do the back and forth. To be honest, I would kind of liked, if you were going to change it up, you're going to gut the original. I would have liked that maybe the battle would have gone on a little longer, like just add a little bit more to it, like this really like extended session where Satan is shredding on the guitar, really like expand it almost like a minute, and then have Johnny shred on the guitar to battle back almost a minute, and make the song longer and really just go in with some amazing guitar work. I think that would have been really, 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 really interesting to try to change the narrative up. And I still think Satan should win in the end. I just do. I just think that goes against everyone's expectations. And I like when you subvert that. Here's what everyone's expecting. Here's how everyone thinks the ending's going to go. Boom, flip it on its head. I think that makes it more interesting and more shocking and more fun. But there's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? You can let me know by emailing me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Nickelback, their cover, The Devil Went Down to Georgia. It's available. And again, the show on Adult Swim, it's called Squidbillies. Is it called Squidbillies? Yeah, Squidbillies. I think How You Like This Old Man. I think if you look up, in fact, give me a second here. I got to make sure my volume is down. Yeah, okay. If you look up How You Like This Old Man, Squidbillies, on YouTube, How You Like This Old Man, Squidbillies, you'll see kind of what they did. Now, again, they don't actually cover the song, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, but they do this version that sounds, well, it sounds like Nickelback trying to cover Charlie Daniels. That's what some people would kind of describe it. But you can look at it for yourself. There's a couple of articles that draw the correlation. What I'll do is I'll post How You Like This Old Man by the from the Squidbillies cartoon show from Adult Swim. I'll post it on our Twitter page. And if you want us on our Twitter page, what is our Twitter account? Let me look here. I don't even know. Our Twitter page is, where are we? Hang on, let me look here. We are currently on, if you go to Currently On Pod, you should find our Twitter page and you can follow us there. I'll post the video. In fact, let me just do it right now while I'm here live on the air. Let's do this. Let's share. Let's copy. Okay, wait. It's going to open up the YouTube page for this video. Okay, give me 1 second. Share. Twitter. I am sharing it right now. Right now, yes. How You Like This Old Man, Squidbillies from Adult Swim. I just tweeted it. It's there. So if you want to follow us, Currently On Pod, we're on Twitter, all right? Currently On Pod on Twitter. You can follow us. I don't post a lot, but it's there. Currently On Pod. You can see it for yourself, and you can see why some people say, well, they didn't actually cover The Devil Went Down to Georgia on Squidbillies, but even if you're not a rock critic, Definitely sounds like Nickelback covering Charlie Daniels, right? So there you have it. I know there's some other parts of the article. I've got like 4 articles here, and I know there was some of that I was reading and I didn't completely finish the thought. I kind of stopped their thought to add my own. So I'm sorry if I didn't read that correctly. I apologize. But there you have it. Trying to process it in my own mind in real time in front of a microphone. That's kind of what I do here, right? We're not a scripted, highly produced podcast. This is real talk. A real person talking into a microphone, talking hopefully to real people, and just having a conversation. It's not always perfect. Sometimes I stumble over my words, but I like the realness of what we do here, and hopefully you appreciate it. So now you can have real talk with me. What do you think about it? What do you think about Nickelback's cover? Right? How does it fit in with where we are in today's music world? Is this just a little anomaly that gets some attention, or is it gone? I mean, we're what? Today is Tuesday. Is it going to be gone by Friday? Possibly. Who knows? Or if it catches on, all you need is a TikTok. Get your song going viral on TikTok, and you got a hit. I mean, that's the way it works in 2020. So, hey, if you're needing some material for your TikTok channel, try it. A humorous TikTok utilizing Nickelback's cover of Charlie Daniels' song "Devil Went Down to Georgia." I think maybe you could have a hit on your hands, maybe. And maybe you could make Nickelback famous again, right? You can make them relevant again. Yeah, who knows? All right. There you have it. I say this at the end of every broadcast, and I mean it. Life is crazy, 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 crazy short. Get out there and enjoy it. So go find the Currently On Radar playlist on Spotify. You need to follow it. Listen to the song and give me your feedback. Everyone have a great day. Enjoy. Thank you.